it's me, Vicky Marie. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, I've just been in Spanish classes. I've got to say, as much as the class that I was in, very nice student, lovely person, really enjoyed the classes. But I have to admit, I could not wait to get back here and talk about this case. I feel like I'm not very organised, actually. I'm not really that organised, am I? Let me get my camera sorted. Oh, my camera's all weird for some reason. What's going on here? That's two. That's better, is it? Can you see me okay? Yeah, it feels too... Oh, I put the curtain across because you've got reflection. How about that? So normally I do check out the camera before I start, but I haven't really had time. Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Well, do you know, I feel so good today about this verdict. We've had the verdict, haven't we, in the Erin Patterson mushroom murder trial. We had it earlier today. It's such good news. I mean, it doesn't bring these poor people back or resolve the suffering that Ian went through. It doesn't bring Dom back. It doesn't bring Gail back. It doesn't bring Heather back or resolve Ian's suffering. But it must feel at least like they've had justice, you know, because justice sometimes doesn't happen, does it? And we weren't sure, were we, about this case? Although we were convinced, I think, as a whole, the supporters of my channel were convinced that Erin was guilty. I think we weren't certain that the jury would see it that way, but we should have had faith, really. At the end of the day, it was apparent that Erin was guilty, even though she spent 3 days trying to defend herself. It didn't work, did it? You know, it didn't work with us. And of course, the jury, the 12 people that were on the jury, they're normal people like us. They're not stupid. You know, they might not be versed in law, etc., as we're not, but they're not daft. They know when they're being lied to. And there's no, although Erin wasn't on trial for being a liar, it's hard, after all the lies that Erin told that were proven lies. It would be really hard to believe anything she said at face value, wouldn't it, after that? So, it's guilty. It's good. So good. Now, as you can imagine, of course, it's all coming out now, isn't it? It's all coming out now. I don't even know where to start with what the things that I've got to show you. And then, of course, people, supporters very kindly have sent me things. So things we're going to be looking at in this video. I mean, there's a limit to how much time we can be on here. I feel like I could be on here all day with all the things I want to tell you about. Because it'll all come out now about Erin, all the truth. The evidence photos have come out. We're going to look at those at the end of this video. The evidence photos, the evidence videos that somebody sent me that are on Reddit. Thank you so much for that. People have sent me all sorts of articles, and also, of course, there are things that I found myself, and one of which is the death wall. The pictures of the death wall on Erin Patterson's previous house. This woman is seriously sort of just not right in the head. So what we'll be looking at is now it's been released. The photos of that death wall on her previous property. When she came to sell it, she got in tradies like to cover up all these weird drawings and things on her wall in her house. And we're going to have a look at those as well. very disturbing. Gravestones, I am dead, R.I.P. grandma. Really weird sort of things that as a grown adult, why would you write those things on your wall? You know, or she told the tradie it was her kids that wrote them on the wall. Whatever, Erin, you're a sicko. Don't blame your kids for everything. These kids have had a lucky escape to get away from Erin, in my opinion. What would have happened to, everyone keeps, oh, what a brilliant mum she was. Was she? Was she really, though? A brilliant mum? Was she? Obviously not. If she could kill their grandparents, who they apparently were really close to, she's not a brilliant mum. She's a nasty, horrible person who just lies for the sake of it. And she killed these poor people. And when I say poor people, I mean poor, kind, innocent people, probably, the most innocent, nice people that you can imagine. And she resented that. She mocked them for being nice, for being religious. She mocked their religion. She mocked their beliefs. Soon as they stopped being useful to her, she started being disrespectful about them, and it's culminated in murdering them. Triple murder and attempted murder. That's what this woman's been found guilty of. And the other thing we're going to look at a little bit is, who is this friend that suddenly has popped up? Erin's friend. Apparently her name is her best friend, Erin's best friend. Is Erin gay, do you think? I mean, why is this? I mean, not that it doesn't matter if she is gay, but does that explain why she didn't want to be with Simon? Who is this woman that suddenly popped up? Everyone's saying it's her best friend. Never heard of her before. And why did she not give evidence as a character witness? What is the situation between these two women? Who is this woman? So this best friend of hers apparently is called Alison Rose Pryor. I think we'll have a look at that just first of all. Oh, actually, first of all, because I'm getting lost. Before I get into the spiel, I want to say thank you. And do you know what? I really appreciate all of you that have been with me through this trial. And it's been a long slog, hasn't it? And it's been upsetting to hear about what Erin possibly did to these people, these poor innocent people. And I really mean innocent people. These people would never have had a bad thought about anyone. And Erin is sly, snidey, evil person, to kill them. Absolutely. They didn't do anything to anybody. They haven't hurt anybody. They just slighted her ego. That's all. They didn't harm her. They didn't harm her children. They did nothing wrong except they didn't toe the line. Erin's a queen bee. Erin's Miss Moneybags. She's the centre of attention. And anyone who doesn't appreciate that, that's how it is. This case, honestly, is vile. She's a vile woman. So who's this friend? Anyway, sorry, I haven't finished saying thank you. So thank you to all of you that have been with me through this, because it's been a roller coaster, hasn't it? It's been a long slog, but we finally, at least the verdict was the right one, in my opinion. Anyway, definitely the right verdict. So special thank you, as always, to my members. So I'll see you on Thursday. As long as nothing happens, things tend to happen on a Thursday. But we have a members live every Thursday. Thank you so much. So why not think about becoming a member if you want to support my channel more? Thank you to those of you who've bought me a Ko-fi, sent super stickers, and special thanks as well to those of you that sent me information on emails, etc., left nice comments, supported me in any way. Thank you so much. Yeah, so let's take the banner off. I think I've said all those thanks, Ruth. Hello, and thank you to you lovely lurkers. I appreciate you so much. There's a lot of people watch this channel that don't join in the chat. I know that. And also there's a lot of you who, for some unknown reason, are not subscribed yet. So please subscribe and don't forget to press the notifications. Hello to all you loathsome lurkers. You know, do what you like. I don't care about you. And now let's say hello to those of you who are brave enough and lovely enough to come into the chat. And I want to say thank you just to my community in general. What a lovely community it is, and how you all support each other as well as me. Thank you. Okay, let's see who's in here. Hi, David. Yeah, we're very impressed with the justice system in Australia at the moment. I'm sure it's not always impressive. Of course, we don't know what the sentencing is yet. Erin may appeal. I'd be very surprised if she appealed. What's she going to appeal on? What grounds? I mean, you know, what grounds is she going to appeal on? Maybe May Allison will come and give her a character witness this time. Why did nobody give Erin a character witness? Hi, Bluebell. Hi, Maria. Yeah, we don't know when. Before sentencing, you know, you're very long-winded, the justice system, isn't it, in Australia? Because before sentencing, there's got to be more deliberations. Many more deliberations. So God knows when the sentencing is. I don't think we've got a date yet. Hi, Maria. Hi, Mara. August, okay. Yeah, victim impact statements will be coming up. Hi, Joanne, thank you. Yeah, will Simon now divorce Erin? Hope so. She is a complete nutter, Mara. And you know what, Bluebell? If you had that death wall in your house that we are going to look at shortly, you just paint over it yourself. She's a lazy cow as well. She's lazy. Why didn't she paint over it herself? What's she got a tradie in for? I mean, at least paint over it so you can't see all that crap. Oh, she just blamed it on the kids. You know how she blames everything on everybody else. Blames her weirdness on other people. Everybody else is lying except Erin. Everybody else is weird except Erin. Everybody else is a thicko except Erin. So fancy calling someone in to paint over it. Why didn't she just do it herself? Because she can't get off her arse and do anything for herself. She's lazy, but she had a terrible childhood. She's so hard done by. Oh, poor Erin. Oh, boo-hoo. Diddums. Poor. I love them. I honestly, God, have just descended into real hate for Erin for what she did. These are vulnerable people that she's murdered. These people, they were delighted to be invited to dinner. These people remind me of my parents. Well, you know, remind me of me now. I'm older, but, you know, when I was young, I would have thought of the you know, just nice people, just ordinary people, just, you know, and she just mocked them for their niceness. Absolute bitch, Erin. Hi, Swin. She's got no empathy, Joanne, you're right. And she couldn't even remember their names properly. Do you remember? She said that Ian was dead. He wasn't dead. She got them mixed up because they mean nothing to her. Nothing. Their existence means nothing because it's all about Erin. The only thing that matters to Erin is Erin. And even her children. Tell you what, best thing to get them out of her clutches. At first I felt sorry for her children. I think they're going to have a better life without Erin. Hi, Friday Tie Day. Oh, Joanne, you're so kind. Thank you. That's a very good point, Friday. Not all liars murder, but all murderers lie. That's exactly true. Very true. Let's put, I just want to say thank you to Joanne. You're very kind, Joanne. You've been very kind, especially through this case. Thank you so much. Thank you. But thank you to you, for caring about these people. Okay. Yeah, definitely will have a better life, won't they? At first, yeah, exactly. The pastor has now lost his life partner. Do you know, I can't imagine how it was for Ian hearing this verdict. I think no wonder he didn't want to be there at the courthouse when the verdict came out, because he'd be emotional. We saw how emotional he was in that sermon. He's a nice, decent man. He probably did not want to believe that Erin could have done this, but, it's God that's took him for him. People can take the piss. People like Erin, they take the piss out of people that believe in God. But that's his belief. That's his belief, and she mocked it, not only his, but all of them. She sat there and let them pray for her because she had cancer. She didn't have cancer. She is heartless. She is callous. She is the most evil of evil, in my opinion. And the more you think about it, the more evil she just becomes. She sat and watched them eat that meal, knowing it was going to kill them, or at the very least make them seriously ill. She was mocking them. She took the piss out of the police. She was mocking the police. She mocks everyone because no one's as clever as Erin. Oh God, honestly, the more I think about it, the more angry I am towards Erin. What a horrible, nasty person she is. Oh my God, I hope she gets her comeuppance. Well, she will in the next. She's got her comeuppance in a way. She's going to go to prison probably for the rest of her life. And then when she passes on to the next life, she's got she's got more justice waiting for her, in my opinion. So, I think I've said hello to everybody. Now who's in the chat? Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for being in the chat. So let's have a look at this wall of death. Before we're going to look at how the verdict unfurled. We're going to look at some of the evidence photos and videos that are now being released. There's going to be shitloads of stuff coming out now. We can only look at so much at a time. But yeah, let's have a look at this. Where's the death wall? Here you go. Death wall inside the mushroom chef's house. The former home of the woman who prepared the lunch in a suspected fatal mushroom poisoning. Well, of course, this was before, it says August the 16th, 2023. This is from, I've only just found it. Featured a death wall with disturbing children's drawings. Now, the thing is, it's disturbing I don't know if it was the children or if it was Erin who painted this wall. Let's have a look at the video of her talking again, because we like to look at this.
Can you tell us about the meal that you cooked?
I'm just kind of devastated by what's happened, by the loss of Donnie's still in hospital, the loss of Ian and Heather.
I like to watch this over and again when she gets their names wrong. That just shows how much she cared about them. She didn't care about them. She couldn't even get their names right.
And Gail, who was some of the best people that I've ever met.
Yeah, whatever.
Gail was like...
Take your time.
Gail was the mum that I didn't have because my mum passed away 4 years ago. And Gail's never been anything but good and kind to me. And Ian and Heather were some of the best people I've ever met. They never did anything wrong to me, and I'm so devastated about what's happened.
Can you tell us
And
a
the
bit?
loss to the community and to the families and to my own children who've lost their grandmother.
Can you tell us a bit more about the lunch?
What I can tell you is that I just can't fathom what has happened. I just can't fathom what has happened. That Ian and Heather have lost their lives, and Gail has lost her life, and Donna's still in.
Yeah, Ian and Heather have lost their lives. No, they haven't, because Ian is still alive.
And I pray that he pulls through, because my children love him.
And you must be pretty shaken up by this as well.
She doesn't care about her children because she killed them.
Well,
I'm devastated. I love them. And I can't believe that this has happened, and I'm so sorry that they have lost their lives.
how are you
But I
kids?
just can't believe it. Just can't believe it.
Can you tell us where the mushrooms came
whatever.
from?
So yeah, like to watch that every now and again, just to remind us what a liar she is. So, the former home of the woman who prepared the lunch in a suspected fatal mushroom poisoning that killed 3 people featured a creepy death wall with disturbing children's drawings. Now, they say it was children's drawing. Was it children's drawings? Of tombstones and an ominous warning that you don't have long to live. A photo obtained exclusively by news.com Australia from inside the Corrumborough home, previously owned by Erin Patterson, shows a large section of one wall covered in red, blue and black graffiti. You don't have long to live, 1 hour exactly, one section reads. You're dead from my sword, another says. Underneath 2 stick figures of a male and female are the words, I am dead, and no, I am really dead, above what appear to be 3 tombstones. One of the tombstones appears to say Grandma R.I.P., while the third reads, Me R.I.P. So, is this Erin's son or daughter that have made these drawings? Why? They're odd, aren't they? Right on the wall like this. We've got some close-ups of it in a moment. Next to the light switch is written the Mulet Man. The Mulet Man. Another random scrolls on the bizarre mural include Eternity, oh yeah, and Get Ready. So the trader who took the photo, gosh, imagine he took that photo not knowing that it was going to turn into this sort of murder trial, of course. You know, he just took the photo. You know, I mean, thank God he did. Thank God he did take the photo. I wonder if he had to present that to the police or whatever. I don't know if it'd be relevant, but it's still odd, isn't it? So the man who asked not to use his name got a phone call from a real estate agent last year asking him to paint the wall so the property could be sold. I've looked at it and I've gone, holy shit, what the hell's going on here? I went, well, this is really actually scary for kids to do this inside the kitchen dining room. So it's not even in their bedroom. You know, kids do daft things, don't they? But don't forget, they're quite younger kids. I mean, I think even now, the boy is 13, is he? So a couple of years ago, he would have been 11. I didn't think it was right. It looked scary. It just didn't look right to me as a parent. So we've got more of a close-up in a moment. So, I don't know. I think I would have painted that over myself, if you like, or at least put a few coats over it so couldn't be seen where it was before you called anyone else to do it. Anyway, the 46-year-old said he was struck by the multiple references to death, and particularly the tombstones. That sort of stood right out. It was eerie. I think I put 4 coats of primer undercoat and 2 coats of wall paint to cover all that text. The tradie said he snapped the picture, and apart from showing a few mates, he didn't think of it again until the fatal mushroom poisonings hit the headlines. Now, of course, he said, this mushroom thing's come out, and the tradie described the Pattersons as sort of a quiet family. Yeah, they're not that quiet, are they? It's understood Miss Patterson's 2 children, who she shares with her estranged husband Simon, are in year 7 and year 5. That was at the time of this article. They keep to themselves, he said. The tradie told news.com Australia he was aware homicide detectives wanted to speak to him about the photo, the existence of which had been previously reported. Now, I mean, the thing is, kids do strange things, don't they? Maybe if her son was on computer games or whatever, and so he was quite young to be on computer games, but there are war games and things like that you can see. But why has he done that in the living room? And when he did it in the living room, why did she not paint over it immediately, and castigate him, So these are the pictures closer up. I am dead. What does that say? No allergies, does that say? Get ready. I am dead. No, I am really. Grandma R.I.P. Now, whether that was about Erin's mum who died a few years ago, then it's got me R.I.P. Now, you've got to presume, you don't want to think that Erin did these, but then you don't want to think that the children did them. You don't feel like these were all done on one day either, do you? It looks sort of quite jumbled. Not long to live. Something on Saturday. Yay. Oh, yeah. Another tradesperson who saw the wall said it was just not something you would typically expect children of that age to be drawing on the wall. That's something that teenagers can get dark, can't they, as time goes on, and do that. Teenagers do quite often get obsessed with death, don't they, at some point in their development. I think that's quite common, to be honest. But then they would normally do something like that in their bedrooms or I don't know, not in the living room. Do you know what I mean? It's like strange. And if your child did that in your living room, where people, if you've got any friends, well, Erin's got one best friend apparently, but if you've got friends, they might be coming into your living room, for lunch. You might be cooking them a beef Wellington one day, mightn't you? Surely you would paint over it. You wouldn't want other people to see that. So apparently the blue text reads, you haven't got long to live. So it's the age, isn't it? So yeah, if the kids were like 17 or whatever, it'd be more sort of expected of teenagers. Teenagers do dark things, don't they? So this tradesperson said it was just not something you would typically expect children of that age to be drawing on the wall. You'd think they'd be drawing flowers and unicorns, not gravestones and death. He said, I was surprised, but at the time I didn't think anything more of it. It's a bit weird, but I see weird shit every day. Now, I know as a Spanish teacher who used to go and teach Spanish in people's houses, you never know what you're walking into. That's why I don't go into other people's houses now and teach Spanish. I never will again. I taught Spanish in people's houses, like a mobile Spanish teacher for about 6 months. And oh my God. Well, if you're interested in knowing anything about what happened when I went round teaching Spanish, a lot of my experiences are in my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher. I think at the end of this video, I haven't done a housekeeping video for ages, and maybe some of you have had a lot of new subscribers over this case. I wrote a book about my experiences, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher. It's available on Amazon. It's available for all countries. Anybody can order it. And some of the experiences that I had in the houses of people. Oh my God, it could be worse. I could have ended up in Erin Patterson's house having a beef Wellington, couldn't I? There were some places that I used to go to, you couldn't even have a cup of tea. They were disgustingly dirty. You'd walk in, people were drunk, or they'd had arguments, couples that had arguments, or people telling me how they're going to leave their husband. I've been flashed at by the husband of one of my students wandering past me in a thong, like two conkers rubbing together, not like he didn't have a body like a Chippendale, let's say that. But to be honest, I find thongs disgusting. I wouldn't care who was wearing it, they're disgusting. Parading in front of me, I don't know, did he think he was turning me on or whatever? Couldn't have turned me off anymore. Anyway, so yeah, lots of experiences, and I expect this tradie has had the same. When you go into people's homes, you just never know what you're walking into, do you? So his understanding was that Miss Patterson's explanation for the drawings was she went out or something and the kids were there and did that while she was out. It was very strange to see. It was just an unusual thing for a child to draw, he added. Property records show the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house described in the listing as an ideal family home and great for entertaining, great for lunch. Oh dear. Oh my God, you couldn't make this shit up, could you? Yeah, how will they sell Erin's house now? Be like perfect place for dining, for entertaining, people, having people to lunch. Anyway, it was sold for 545,000 Australian dollars, apparently. And then it goes on to talk. So this was 2 years ago, because Miss Patterson was 48 then. So yeah, the death wall. The death wall. What's this about? So one friend told the Australian that Mr. Patterson's family was worried about Miss Patterson's mental state. So they accepted the lunch invitation to make sure she was in the right mental health to resume a relationship with Simon. Neither Miss Patterson nor her 2 school-aged children became ill after the lunch. And this comes after Mr. Patterson claimed in a social media post that he had to be put into an induced coma last year following a sudden mystery gut illness. Now, things are going to come out about that, aren't they? About Erin attempting to kill Simon. I collapsed at home, then was in an induced coma for 16 days, through which I had 3 emergency operations, mainly on my small intestine, plus an additional planned operation. My family were asked to come and say goodbye to me twice, as I was not expected to live. Yeah, I can't wait to find out all the details about that. Had she already served up some death cap mushrooms? I wonder. So she said afterwards, she said, shh, I am now wanting to clear up the record because I've become extremely stressed and overwhelmed by the deaths of my loved ones. What a load of cojones. They weren't your loved one, Erin. Loved ones. You couldn't even remember their names. And again, it's about her, how stressed she is, how overwhelmed she is. Goodness me, apparently she said that in a written statement to the police. I'm hoping this statement might help in some way. I believe if people understood the background more, they would not be so quick to rush to judgment. And she said she too became ill. Yeah, whatever. And explained that the leftovers had been we're going to have a look at the pictures. The photos have been released of the leftovers, etc. Anyway, if you want, there should be a playlist of the whole sort of case on my in the description box of this video. If you want, there's certainly on my channel a playlist. I am now devastated, she said, to think these mushrooms may have contributed to the illness suffered by my loved ones. I really want to repeat that I had absolutely no reason. This is what they kept up about. She had no motive. She didn't need a motive. Her motive was spite, nastiness. She's a psycho. People don't need a motive to murder. Sometimes people will murder over the most ridiculous things. I now very much regret not answering some police questions following this advice, given the nightmare that this process has become. So, yeah, she regrets lying now. She didn't regret it at the time. So, let's see. I don't want to just repeat things. So, let me come back to chat. Just make sure you're all okay. Hi, Lily. Just make sure I haven't missed anybody coming in, yeah. Sorry. Hi, Skits. Hi, Dottie. Just want to make sure I've said hello to everybody. I think I have. As I say, I'm sorry if I've forgotten to say hello to you or missed saying hello to you. I'm sorry. It's just I get into a spiel. Okay, so where are we going to go now? Oh, let's have a look at this friend. Who is this? Where's this friend popped up from? Suddenly, Erin's got a best friend. Her name's Alison Rose Pryor. I'm going to look into her more. I don't know a lot about her yet, except, you know, all the press were trying to interview her, weren't they? Let's see if this video will come on. Anyway, we've got video later of her exiting the courtroom. What sort of friend is she? You know, her best friend. Where's she from? You know, why don't we know anything about her? Why have we not heard anything about this friend before? So apparently Erin Patterson had a 3-word message for her friend moments after learning a jury had found her guilty. She sat emotionless, barely reacting as she was convicted. But as she was led away by court staff after the verdict, she broke her silence to tell her friend and supporter, Ali Rose Pryor, see you soon. Who is this woman? Is she a friend or is she more than a friend? I've just never heard of her before. Does anyone? Let me know in the chat if you've ever heard anything about this woman before. Suddenly, Erin's got a best friend. So this lady, she, Miss Pryor, she faced a media scrum as she left court, confirming to reporters the message Patterson had given her. She was then grilled about her relationship with the triple murderer and what she knew of Patterson's feelings about the jury decision. Dressed up for court, as you can see. Sorry, you know what? I don't agree with that. Look at that. Come on. You've Going to court, woman. You're wearing trainers and ripped jeans, for fuck's sake. Where's your respect? This is a trial for the murder of 3 people. Look at the state of it. I'm sorry. Just doesn't wash with me at all. I don't like it. You go to court. Court is a serious place, especially when it's a trial for triple murder. Your best friend's on trial, and that's how you turn up to court. Ripped jeans, not even nice jeans. Do you know what I mean? How disrespectful. So I don't like this woman already, but I don't think she'll be doing an interview with me anyway. So I am saddened, Miss Pryor said about the guilty verdict, before adding, it is what it is. Do you know, maybe it'd be nice if she'd said something like, oh, I feel so sorry for the victims' families. You know, you can say it in a way. You can still support your friend, your loved one, and still support the victims. You can say, you know, I'm sorry for the victims' families. I'm sorry. I mean, you don't have to say anything, to be honest. But it is what it is in her ripped jeans and trainers. I'm her friend. I will visit her. I'd like to know what friend she is. And asked if she believed the murder was an accident, she responded, not a question I can answer for you. Which is fair enough. She can't answer it. I bet you before long she'll be giving her interview somewhere and getting paid for it. 100% she will. No, come on, look at the state of her. On verdict day. Do you know, it's true. This is what I'm thinking, David, straight away. I'm thinking, because quite often I thought that Erin maybe it does swing both ways. I mean, not that it matters. Doesn't matter. That's why I've not mentioned it. But yeah, it could be someone that she met in prison, couldn't it? Could be exactly be someone she met in prison. She's got friendly with in prison. Yeah, see you soon. You're not going to see her soon, Erin. Well, maybe she's allowed to visit. I don't know. For fuck's sake. Sorry. Honestly, the disrespect shown just generally. You turn up for a verdict in a triple murder trial in ripped jeans and trainers. Disgusting. So, yeah, I'd like to know more about this woman. Who is she? How long has she been Erin's friend? Her best friend. Her best friends. Is she jail friend? Or is she mushroom friend? Has she ever been to lunch with Erin? So anyway, we're going to see a little bit more of her later. Oh, look at it. Like, excuse me for not feeling any sympathy whatsoever for this video. You know, we've got to bear in mind what Erin has done. Do you know, it's difficult to feel sorry for her for anything. What she's done, how horrible, how evil she is. I don't feel sorry for her. I'm glad that's made her look ridiculous. So the maximum security women-only correctional facility is where she's been since her arrest. And it can now be revealed that throughout the trial, she would be brought from the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre on Monday mornings and not return until Friday afternoons. And during the week, she slept in police cells adjoining the court precinct in Morwell. Yeah, and then of course there's been a big thing about these new photos. Let's have a look at that. Can I make that bigger or? No, I don't think so. We get this on a video. I'd like to see that full up on a video. Never mind. Just like to get that video up because it makes her look ridiculous and I want to see her looking ridiculous. Erin's got to pay for what she did. She's got to pay. She's nasty. So, anyway, if anyone knows who this woman is who has got no respect for courtroom proceedings, who's this? And she led her away she's got this shirt on. I don't know what that stands for on the shirt. She led her away. Anyway, we're going to see more of that shortly on the other video we're going to look at. Right, what we're going to look at next. There's so many things to look at. Yeah, a lot of articles, etc., are concentrating on this friend. You know, I think, who is this woman? Why has she suddenly popped up? Let's have a look at what the Daily Mail have got to say about it. Oh God, these videos are not working properly today for some reason.
Ahora contrata la luz con Iberdrola y te llevas 200 euros para gastarte en experiencias inolvidables.
I'm excited, and it is what it is. Thank you.
Did you have a chance to talk to Erin now? Did you think that Erin was capable of something like this? She's a triple murderer.
Were you expecting your friend to be found not guilty?
Did you have any expectations of the system and what it is?
What did Erin say to you in the moments before
What did you say
she was
to
taken
Erin
away?
when that verdict came down?
Ali, she said to you, see you soon. Were you hoping to see her?
I will.
They seem to know who she is. They said her name, Ali. You know, how do they? I think she. Do you think she's someone from prison?
Is Erin confident that she would walk? Those tarps went up at her house.
Was she?
She's also quite a bit younger than Erin, isn't she? Bear in mind that Erin is 50. I don't think this lady is 50. So she's about 10, maybe she's 40, I don't know.
Positive that she would walk free?
Ali, when you say you will see her again, do you believe she will appeal this verdict?
I'm her friend and I'll see her. I'll visit with her.
Was Erin confident that she would walk today? Did you think she was going to get out?
I don't know.
So, yeah, we'll find out more about her, I'm sure, as
Busca
we...
amigos, porque si un amigo
as
de
we
ING te
go
trae a
along.
la cuenta nómina, te llevas 250 eurazos y 50.
Okay, let's get down to the article. So, yeah, Erin Patterson spoke to her friend Alison Rose Pryor and said, see you soon. Now, to me, I think they couldn't have her on there giving a character reference because she's probably, no, I shouldn't say that because I don't know. I just want to know, who is this woman? Where does she know Erin from? And why did she turn up at court with ripped jeans on? Looking like, you know, a homeless person. Disgusting. Anyway, no respect. No respect whatsoever. I mean, look at the media and the way they're dressed. They're respectful. You have to be respectful. Look at the state of her. Good God. Yeah, I think we'll be seeing a little bit more of her, though, as she'll be selling her story. No doubt whatsoever. Sooner or later, she'll be selling her story to the media, won't she? Okay, so now I'm going to show you a video which shows how it all developed. It's very interesting to watch. This is what we're going to look at now. I'm going to go off and get a drink, have a little bathroom break, but I'll leave you to watch this video. But I'll be back in a minute. I'm not going to be gone long.
Repeating that breaking news this hour, the jurors in Erin Patterson's triple murder trial have told the Victorian Supreme Court they have reached a verdict. Ms. Patterson, 50, has pleaded not guilty to 3 charges of murder and 1 of attempted murder over a beef Wellington lunch served to 4 relatives in 2023. Ms. Patterson's parents-in-law, Don and Gail Patterson, both died after the Leongatha lunch.
I just want to say before I go, I will be a little bit more than 9 seconds, but not much longer. But also, this starts from when it had been announced that the golden buzzer must have gone off. It'd been announced that there was a verdict, and it's very interesting to see how it develops. They're waiting for the verdict. They just know there's a verdict. They were told that the jury would come back after 2:15, I think it was, after lunch, and deliver their verdict. Very interesting to watch.
With Gail's sister Heather Wilkinson. Heather's husband Ian Wilkinson survived after spending weeks in hospital. The jury has been deliberating in the regional Victorian town of Morwell, where the trial is taking place. The hearing is expected to occur at around 2:15 p.m, that is Eastern Time, where the jury is expected to deliver its verdict. In just a few minutes, we'll be bringing that live from Morwell, where we do have our reporters standing by. For those of you just joining us, jurors in the triple murder trial of Erin Patterson have reached a verdict. More than 50 witnesses have given evidence over 9 weeks of proceedings at the Latrobe Valley Law Courts in the Victorian town of Morwell. Now, as we wait to learn the outcome of one of the most keenly followed trials of the decade, let's take a look at how events have unfolded. Ms Patterson was on trial, charged with murdering 3 relatives and attempting to murder a 4th by serving them a beef Wellington lunch deliberately laced with extremely poisonous death cap mushrooms. The victims were all directly related to Ms Patterson's estranged husband, Simon Patterson. His parents, Gail and Don, both died, along with Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson. Heather's husband, Ian Wilkinson, survived after spending weeks being treated in hospital. Patterson had always maintained her innocence, claiming the mushrooms were mistakenly included in the meal. The beef Wellington, an expensive and complex dish to prepare, was the main course served at a lunch she hosted in July 2023 at her home in Leongatha, southeast of Melbourne. She had also invited her estranged husband Simon, but he declined to attend. The prosecution did not present a specific motive, but argued the defendant had felt growing anger and resentment towards the Pattersons. The court heard in late 2022 she and Simon had been arguing about money. The prosecution pointed to Facebook messages in which she criticised her extended family about its reluctance to get involved in the financial dispute. The defence argued the messages illustrated a brief episode of tension and give a distorted impression of the relationships. Ms Patterson told the court she began foraging for mushrooms during Victoria's COVID-19 lockdowns in 2020. Some months before the fateful lunch, 2 sightings of death cap mushrooms near Leongatha at Loch in Outram were logged on a citizen science website. The prosecution used mobile phone data from network towers showing Erin Patterson had travelled to both areas to seek out the poisonous species. But Ms Patterson's lawyers raised questions over the accuracy of the mobile phone tower data and denied she foraged at either site. Ms Patterson told authorities the mushrooms used in the fatal beef Wellington were a mixture of fresh mushrooms from a supermarket and dried mushrooms purchased from an Asian grocer, which she had stored in a plastic container. Taking the stand in the trial, she told the jury under cross-examination she now believes it was possible foraged mushrooms were also in that container. Prosecutors labelled the story about the Asian grocer a lie, and Ms Patterson was unable to identify the store. They argued she has avoided eating the poisoned food herself by making individual Wellingtons instead of a single large one, and by colour-coding the plates used to serve the meal. Surviving guest Ian Patterson told the jury Erin served her meal on an orange plate and the guests on grey plates. But Ms Patterson said she didn't own a matching set of plates and all the beef Wellingtons were the same. By the morning after the lunch, all 4 guests were sick in hospital. Less than a week later, on August 4th, sisters Gail and Heather died. The following day, Don Patterson also died. Then, nearly 2 months after he was admitted to hospital and after a stint in intensive care, the sole surviving guest, Ian Wilkinson, was discharged. The defendant also visited hospital after the lunch, but doctors told the court she showed no signs of death cap poisoning. The prosecution told jurors she had faked her illness as part of a cover-up, a claim the defence rejected. After being discharged from hospital, Erin Patterson drove to a rubbish tip and dumped a food dehydrator she'd been using to dry foraged mushrooms. She told the court she was scared because she knew death caps were a suspected cause of her guests' illnesses, but says she had never knowingly dehydrated toxic mushrooms. Ms. Patterson was arrested and charged in November 2023. Now the jury has reached its verdict, and we will soon discover whether it has found Erin Patterson guilty or not guilty on the 4 charges. Let's now go back to Latrobe Valley Magistrates Court in Morwell with Alexandra Alvaro and Ben Knight. So Ben, just take us through the latest there as we continue to await that verdict.
Yeah, thanks, Miriam. As we know, the verdict exists. We don't know what it is yet. The jury room has alerted the court that there is a verdict. That verdict will be delivered when the court resumes its normal afternoon sitting, which every day is due to happen at 2:15 p.m, so we're about 11 minutes away from that. We have reporters obviously inside the court, inside the overflow room there, not just ours, pretty much every news organisation that you can think of is represented here, and they all flooded inside as soon as that word came through about 10 minutes ago. So as soon as we know what the verdict is, we're going to bring it to you. But Alex, we were just talking about the presentation of the case, the summing up by both the prosecution and the defence, and you were telling us when the prosecution said in those final days of the trial, here is what we want you to consider. What were they saying?
Yeah, so essentially the prosecution outlined 4 calculated deceptions that they say Erin Patterson carried out before, during and after that beef Wellington lunch. The first calculated deception, they say, is...
Hey, I'm back. So, yeah, it's very interesting this, because they were standing outside, these 2 journalists, waiting for the verdict. I think we'll watch it up till then, and then when the friend comes out, because this is quite a long video, we won't watch the whole video, but it's very interesting because this lady, this journalist, she goes over like the details, just in case if any of you don't remember the details. My God, I feel like I could do mastermind on this case. You know, it could be my specialist subject.
That Erin Patterson lied about having cancer in order to create a pretense for the lunch. So she created this lie in order to create a reason to host these people and as an excuse to why her children wouldn't be there. Now, Erin Patterson denies this, and I might go through the denials in the defence's case when we get to it. So this might sound a bit one-sided, but we'll get to the defence's case in a moment. That second calculated deception that the prosecution alleges is that Erin Patterson hid the death cap mushrooms in those individual beef Wellingtons, that she fed herself a non-tainted version of that meal and she fed her guests poisoned ones. And the prosecution says that the way that she did this was by making, as I say, individual beef Wellingtons. The prosecution pointed out that the recipe that she used from Recipe Tin Eats called for a long log, if you like, of beef in that beef Wellington. Instead, Erin Patterson made the decision to create individual beef Wellingtons, and the prosecution says that she did that as a way to not poison herself. And the other way that they said she didn't poison herself was by colour coding the plates, if you like. The prosecution's alleged that Erin Patterson served her.
This with the plates, of course, this was key, wasn't it? And we're going to see the evidence photos later that show the plates stacked in the dishwasher, not the actual plates that were used in the mushroom lunch. But we'll be able to see that Erin definitely had orange plates in her house. You know, she definitely did, because they're in the dishwasher. So, you know, what happened to the actual plates that were used on the day? They'll be lying in a tip somewhere, I expect, but or in a bin somewhere. Thing is, my opinion is, it is Erin's lies that undid her. I know she wasn't on trial for being a liar. It's the type of lies she told. And, you know, the way she tried to manipulate the police and manipulate everyone. The way she said that everybody else was a liar. The way she lied about things and then said, no, actually, I didn't mean that. Oh, I just said that was Simon's fault about the dehydrator because he panicked me. All those things. That's what hung. It won't hang her. But that's what undid Erin Patterson. Lie after lie, layers of lies, and thinking that she was more intelligent than everybody else.
On an orangey tan plate and served her guests on grey plates, another thing that Erin Patterson denies. The third calculated deception that Dr. Nanette Rogers, SC, the lead prosecutor in this case, pointed out, she said that Erin Patterson feigned illness in the aftermath of the lunch. That is a big point of dispute in this case. Was Erin Patterson genuinely unwell after the lunch? Did she eat the same poisoned meal as her lunch guests? They say that one of the reasons they believe that she was feigning illness is that she left the hospital when she was told that she needed death cap mushroom treatment. And the fourth calculated deception, the prosecution says, is that she engaged in a cover-up. She told lies after the lunch. Some of them are agreed lies. Erin Patterson admits to lying about foraging for mushrooms, about owning a dehydrator. She admits that she told those lies. But the prosecution also alleges that she lied about her phones, that she handed police a dummy phone, if you like, and concealed her real phone. The prosecution also outlined, of course, that dehydrator that she dumped in the aftermath of the lunch. So those are those four deceptions that the prosecution say Erin Patterson carried out. They also said, Dr. Nanette Rogers had this quote, she said that Erin Patterson exercised control over the ingredients in the beef Wellington to devastating effect. And in closing those closing arguments, she pointed out a fifth deception. She said, the fifth deception that Erin Patterson has carried out are the lies that she's told to you, the jury, and that was quite a theatrical moment in her closing address.
So we'll come to the defence closing in a moment. Just to remind you that we're at the Latrobe Valley Courthouse. We are waiting on a verdict in the Erin Patterson trial. We know that there is a verdict. The judge and the court have been alerted by the jury that they do have a verdict. The court is due to convene for its afternoon session at 2:15. That's in 7 minutes from now. So once we know what that verdict is, we'll certainly bring it to you. So that was the prosecution summing up. Tell us about how the defence closed, because obviously their role here, or their goal, was to try and introduce some reasonable doubt. How did they do that? What was the closing statement?
Yeah, so the defence's argument was essentially that the deaths, the poisoning, it was all a tragic accident, that Erin Patterson didn't seek out death cap mushrooms on purpose. And in Erin Patterson's testimony, she also gave an account as to how it was possible that forage mushrooms might have made their way into the meal. She said that she had this habit of foraging for mushrooms, and that was something that developed in the COVID years. Back in 2020, when you could only go outside for a really short period of time. She said that she'd go on walks, and once she spotted these mushrooms growing out near her home, and once she became confident in identifying what they were, she chopped a little bit off one, she fried it up with some butter at home, and she ate it. And her defence lawyer said to her, "What happened next?" And she said, "Well, tasted good. I didn't get."
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Remember, she said she foraged some mushrooms and she chopped them up, fried them, and it was great. Yeah, she had no problems. So suddenly Erin became this master forager, didn't she? And she never talked about foraging mushrooms with anyone. Not her close friends, not her husband, well, say her close friends, her Facebook friends. She'd never mentioned foraging for mushrooms, ever. And then suddenly, yes, I found this mushroom, I chopped it up, I ate it, it was fine. God. Oh, I'll tell you what I haven't done for a little while. I'll do it now in a minute. The Pinocchio.
And so, after that, if I ever saw similar mushrooms growing and I felt confident in identifying them, then I'd pick them and I'd eat them. And I'd even put them in meals that I fed to my kids. She said that she purchased a dehydrator because the season for mushroom foraging is actually quite short. We learned a lot about mushrooms and foraging in this trial, but the season is quite short, she said. So she'd purchased a dehydrator, not just to dehydrate mushrooms, she said, but also to, dehydrate mushrooms and make sure she had access access to these mushrooms all year round, and she'd store them in a Tupperware container in her pantry. Now, when it comes to the making of the lunch, she also ran through that. She said that the source, she told authorities at the time that the source of the mushrooms in the lunch were fresh from Woolworths in Leongatha and also dried from an Asian grocer. She'd bought these mushrooms from an Asian grocer for another dish. She thought they smelled a bit strong, she says, so she put them back in her cupboard in a Tupperware container, which is really key. She says that when she was making the mushroom component, the duxelle component of that beef Wellington, she tasted it. She thought it tasted a little bit bland. And so she reached for these dried mushrooms that she'd purchased from the Asian grocer, she says, and she added them to the meal. And her defence lawyer, Colin Mandy SC, he asked her, what do you now believe was in that Tupperware container? And she said, I now believe that it's possible that forage mushrooms were in there too. We also heard about Erin Patterson's battles with self-esteem, and just a content warning here, I'm about to discuss eating disorders and disordered eating, if any of our audience want to turn away at this point. But Erin Patterson essentially said that she'd been battling low self-esteem for most of her life. She'd never had a healthy relationship with food. And when it came to the day of the lunch, when the guests had all left, she said that there was about 2/3 of an orange cake left, and she ate a slice and then another one and then another.
Yeah, that was one of the lies she said, wasn't it? She said she ate 3 portions of the orange cake, made herself sick. Or it made it, I don't know if she made herself sick or that made her sick. What she was basically trying to say, wasn't she, was that's the reason why she wasn't so ill with the death cap mushrooms, because she threw up. And the defence tried to say that, and also because, of course, she's 100 kilos, or she was at the time. So she, her weight and everything, absolute rubbish. The difference between her symptoms and those other people, they were in comas. Heather's liver died, literally died. She was so ill, she couldn't even get a transplant. Don, they gave a transplant to, but he didn't survive it, unfortunately. But both Gail and Heather were too ill to have transplants. Their organs had failed. Erin, a little bit of diarrhea, had to go for a poo in the outback. That's it, basically, isn't it? Took a bit of Imodium, she was fine. God.
The one, she kind of laid it out in this way. And she said that eventually she'd eaten all the cake. It was all gone. And later she was feeling a little bit overfull. She was feeling a bit sick. So she took herself to the bathroom and she vomited it back up. And this is one of the points that the defence relies on as a reason as to why Erin Patterson didn't get as sick as her guests. They say that Erin Patterson did become sick, just not as sick as them. Part of that reason is because Erin Patterson says she vomited it up. Other reasons, factors would be her age and her weight. These are some of the arguments by the defence. When it comes to that alleged cancer lie, Erin Patterson denied telling the guests that she had cancer. Instead, she said that she misled the guests about her health, that she'd been having some investigations about ovarian cancer, but that she might need some treatment in the future. And she misled them in that way because she had actually planned to get lap band surgery, and she knew she'd need some help with the kids. And that's why she told that lie, because she was too embarrassed to tell them that she was having some issues with her weight and needed to have that surgery. When it comes to the dehydrator and what the prosecution calls incriminating conduct, the lies that she told, Erin Patterson says, she was scared. It was this knee-jerk reaction. And at times, Erin Patterson's testimony was actually quite emotional, especially when talking about her own children, when talking about the lunch guests and the affection that she said she had for them. But basically, in closing, Colin Mandy, SC, Erin Patterson's defence lawyer, told the jury Erin Patterson is not on trial for being a liar, and he reiterated that twice. And he also spoke about reasonable doubt, as you say. He said, if you think that it's possible that Erin Patterson deliberately poisoned her guests, then not guilty. If you think that it's, maybe she poisoned her guests deliberately, not guilty. If you think that it's possible that she poisoned her guests deliberately, not guilty. So really honing that reasonable doubt element.
It's 14 minutes past 2. The court will reconvene at 15 minutes past 2. So we are moments away from that happening. It'll obviously take a bit of time for the jury to come in and take their places, for the legal teams and for others to come in. I can tell you it's not just people who have been going into the courtroom. You can probably hear it being called behind me here, but it's interesting to see the words got around, and we're seeing a lot of the community have turned up here at the court to sort of hear this verdict as it comes out. So we're not in there, but as soon as we get the message, we'll bring it to you. It's worth pointing out that we are on day one of the 11th week of a case that was supposed to go for what, 5 or 6, Alex?
Yeah, 5 to 6 weeks, and we're now in week 11. And I think the reason for that was just the sheer amount of evidence that they had to get through in this case. And also some of that evidence was quite technical. You know, we heard from a telecommunications expert, from a digital forensic IT expert from Victoria Police, and some of that evidence was just so granular. We really got down to the basis of that evidence, especially in terms of that forensic analyst. You know, we started with the question, what is a computer? So when you're starting from that base, you know, and we have to address jury members, you know, we can't assume any knowledge. So it's important that we really get to the root of, you know, what the evidence is. So yeah, there was some really technical evidence. And then of course we had Erin Patterson in the witness box for 8 days. You know, her evidence in chief and then her cross-examination. These things take a lot of time. And then you've got the judge's charge, and Justice Beale was very obviously being just so intentional and making sure he ran through every single point, because, you know, there's a lot at stake here. Yeah, that struck me. I'm sure people would be reasonably familiar with the idea that the prosecution and the defence teams present their summing up of the case, and then it's the role of the judge to what's called charge the jury, essentially give them their instructions to go into the jury room. And this took, it was about 3 days, wasn't it? Yeah, 3 or 4 days. Yeah, and as you say, it's a really important part of the legal process. And as Justice Beale said to the jurors, you are the judges in this case, so they really have to, you know, be schooled on those legal principles and how to apply the law to the evidence in this case.
Having said that, there aren't really any rules. Oh, there are rules, but there's no sort of blueprint for what each particular jury does when it gets inside the jury room. But you know, clearly it's a case of going through the evidence, and so they've now been deliberating. I think this is for the 6th day. The jury does have
7th, I believe.
7th. Thank you. The jury does have the option, if it chooses, to pose a question to the judge, perhaps if it's seeking a bit of guidance. That hasn't happened in this case.
We haven't seen that. No. Yeah, interestingly, we haven't seen that. But the other interesting point is that the jurors can all rely on different pieces of evidence to come to their verdict. All that really matters is that they come to a unanimous verdict. So they all have to agree, but they can rely on different bits of evidence to get to that point.
Okay, so it's 17 minutes past 2. Court started at 2:15. As I say, if you're just joining us, we're at the Latrobe Valley Court, and just behind us here, court is reconvening in courtroom number 4 for the Erin Patterson murder trial. The jury say that they do have a verdict. It may well be being read out in court as we speak. As soon as we know what it is, we'll bring it to you. Alex, you were in court for a lot of this. What was it like?
Oh, you know, it was actually really busy at some points, especially when Erin Patterson was in the witness box. The courtroom was full, and we had just these lines outside the courthouse.
Do you feel like this girl, she just looks so happy? She's probably thinking, thank God this is over and I can go back home, you know, or do whatever she normally does. She just looks so gleeful that finally there's a verdict. Because they've all been hanging around, haven't they, for days, ever since the jury went out to deliberate. So it must feel good that there's a verdict coming through.
Here, even starting at 6:30 in the morning, just so people could get a seat. And I'm sure we'll talk about the intense media interest in this case soon. But sometimes it was really packed, sometimes it wasn't. Importantly, Erin Patterson was there. You know, she sat just behind the media allocated seats. And often she was, you know, just looking on, watching on quite neutrally. Sometimes she showed a bit of emotion, but yeah, it was really interesting to be in the courtroom at some points. You know, There's also an overflow room. I don't know if some of our audience knows this, but because of the intense interest in this case, there's also a media overflow room. So some of the media sit there, and then there's 6 seats in the courtroom where the media can sit. There are 6 allocated seats, only 6.
Only 6 seats, yeah. What's, I mean, and that's also, I guess, slightly unusual, but the case was held here in the Latrobe Valley. There's a lot to go through. Just got a message. No, that's not the verdict. We'll bring it to you when it comes. There's a lot to go through. A lot of people, I'm sure viewers would be extremely well aware, have been following this case intensely closely. There has been no shortage of coverage, and I think it's because they're...
It'd be interesting to know if he's up in the courtroom today, but he was there every day after he gave evidence, and we...
Charges, that's a unanimous verdict. So that is 3 counts of murder.
3 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. So guilty of the murder of Don Patterson, her father-in-law, guilty of the murder of Gail Patterson, her mother-in-law, and then also guilty of the murder of Heather Wilkinson, and guilty of the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson.
Okay.
The sole surviving guest of the lunch.
The sole surviving guest of the lunch, who was in court for much of this.
He was. He I actually haven't seen him today. It'd be interesting to know if he's up in the courtroom today, but...
No, none of the Wilkinson family or the Patterson family were there for the verdict, but they probably were watching on a video link.
He was there every day after he gave evidence, and we saw a lot of stoicism from Ian. He was often just watching on quite neutrally. Sometimes he would, hold his daughter's hand. But even during that really harrowing evidence, hearing of the terrible illness that the deceased went through, just really quite stoic. Yeah.
So just getting a message that Erin Patterson sat expressionless as the verdicts were read out. We'll get more information coming through, but just to repeat, if you've just joined us, Erin Patterson has been found guilty on all charges. That's 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Alex, it's been a remarkable case. We're going to stay here. We're going to stay with the coverage because there's quite a bit to go through, and it's quite interesting to talk about. Where should we start? Should we look? Let's actually start with Erin Patterson herself, because the prosecution called more than 50 witnesses in this case, as we were talking about,
Erin Patterson,
including Erin Patterson. But so she was the one who was clearly in the witness box for the longest. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I guess we were able to see a pretty complete picture of who Erin Patterson is as a person, and we heard that from multiple witnesses. She's 50 years old, she's got 2 kids, her maiden name is Scudder, Erin Scudder, she was born, and from Simon Patterson's evidence we heard that, he said...
I'm just going to fast forward it to when this friend that we know nothing about, or didn't know anything about, comes out of the courtroom. Let me just see. Oh yeah, it's quite a long video this. We won't watch all of it. Let's see.
Referring to where Erin Patterson would mock them for their religion, according to the prosecution. So
yeah, Erin thought that she laughed at them for their religion. It's unforgivable what this woman has done. Really is unforgivable, horrible woman.
In those Facebook messages, essentially, Erin Patterson was telling her internet friends that she wanted nothing more to do with the way.
So this is where this friend comes out, and there's this media frenzy around her. This friend that nobody's ever heard of before. Suddenly, it's her best friend.
The Latrobe Valley Courthouse, obviously that's a big media scrum. I believe that is... Who
have we got in there?
The legal team?
No, it's not the legal team. It's Erin's best friend suddenly.
You would know better than I, Alex.
Okay.
Looking like a homeless
We've heard
person.
that it's potentially an associate of Erin Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the people
Who the hell
who
is
has
she?
turned up here to hear this verdict, which, just to reiterate, if you've just joined us, Erin
And where
Patterson
did
guilty
Erin
on
meet
all
her?
4
They're
counts,
going to
3
just
counts
show
of
it
murder, 1 count of attempted murder.
Yeah.
You were talking about the evidence of the children, how Erin's daughter, 9 years old at the time, that she conducted that police interview that was replayed to the court.
Yeah, and Erin Patterson's son as well. But when it comes to the daughter, she was asked about the day of the lunch. She said that her mother had told her that she wouldn't be their lives in hearings. And essentially what will happen is, we'll hear submissions, arguments from the prosecution and defence about, what they think the judge should take into account when it comes to sentencing. We might...
Can you imagine how long the sentencing is going to go on before? This judge, he doesn't rush things, does he? Justice Beale. And good that he doesn't, but, it has been long drawn out. So, yeah, we've got the submissions to come. The prosecution will be saying what they think the sentence should be, the defence saying what they think the sentence should be. There'll be the victim impact statements. But anyway, in a moment, they're going to show you that friend of Erin's.
We might hear, victim impact statements. Now, I believe we've got some comments from outside court. So I think we'll throw to them now. Let's have a look.
Yeah, let's go back.
Hello. How are you feeling?
I'm saddened, and it is what it is.
Did you have a chance to talk to Erin though? Did you think that Erin was capable of something like this? She's a triple murderer.
Were you expecting your friend to be found not guilty?
Did you have any expectations?
Yeah, she doesn't know because I think she's only just met Erin. It's not a childhood friend, is she? And where's Erin's sister? Where are the people that are, who is this woman? How come she suddenly appeared there? Very strange, isn't it? This is some mate that Erin's met in prison. Moneybags Erin, she'll have probably got a lot of minions in prison running around after her, I would imagine. No, I know I shouldn't say this, I'm speculating, but that's just how I feel. Where has this woman popped out of the woodwork? Who is she? She's described as Erin's best friend. Very mysterious. We'll find out sooner or later.
What it is.
What did Erin say to you in the moments before
What did you say
she was
to
taken
Erin
away?
when that verdict came down? Ali, she said to you, see you soon. Were you hoping to see her?
I will.
Was Erin confident that
I
she
will
would
see
walk?
her.
Those tarps went up at her house?
Was she positive that she would walk free?
Ali, when you say you will see her again, do you believe she will appeal this verdict?
I'm her friend and I'll see her. I'll visit with her.
I'm her friend
Was Erin
and I'll see
confident that she
her.
would walk today? Did you think she was going to get out?
I don't know.
How do you think she was feeling in that moment?
I don't know.
Do you believe her that this was an accident?
Not a question I can answer for you.
What do you think she would want to say to the families, to her extended family that have lost their lives?
I could just get to my car, guys. I'm doing really good now. Thank you.
Come on, guys.
I just need to get to my... Who does she remind you of? Oh, I just need to get to
So
my
you
car,
join us-
guys. Oh, God. Do you know what? I have no sympathy for her. I have no sympathy for Erin. The only people that I have sympathy for are the people that Erin murdered and their families and her children. I have sympathy for her children. It's not their fault their mum's a psycho, but whoever that woman is, I have no idea. But I just want to get to my car, guys. She's another Erin, in my opinion. Exactly, Dottie. As fake as FUCK. I just want to get to my car. I have no idea. It is what it is. All feel sorry. Oh, she's going to be all over the media. There's going to be money involved in this. 100%. There's going to be money involved in this. Hi, Nikaya. Okay, we've got one last thing. Joanne, you're not in the same chat. I posted you. Look, I'll tell you where you need to be. You need to be on this channel. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I have two channels. You're in the Spanish channel. You need to be in this channel. Yeah, you need to go and watch it on there. That, to be honest, that's the Vicky Marie chat. That's my main channel. But you're on the Spanish channel, I think. That's why you can't see everybody's comments. So, Joanne, go on to that. and subscribe and watch there. And that's maybe why you're not always getting notifications, because you're not on the main channel. So let me just take my banner off. Okay, so got one more thing to look at before we finish. There'll be loads of stuff coming out now, but I haven't got time to address it all today, but I will tomorrow. For the next couple of days, there'll be a lot of things coming out, won't they? And I will still talk about this, and then I will be moving on to other cases. I've got while the jury have been deliberating, I've got out quite a few stories that I wanted to talk about, but there's loads more. There's always something to talk about in true crime, unfortunately. So let's have a look. Somebody, thank you so much. One of my members who were on the chat earlier, whether they want to say who they are or not, sent me the link to these items, photos, evidence photos. Let's have a look at them. Very interesting. Let's see. So this is a Reddit thread. Let's take a moment to pause and honour the memory of Don and Gail and Heather and think of Ian's suffering. We've done that every time, haven't we? We can never forget what this trial is all about. These 3 people who went to a lunch with someone they trusted, they didn't know that this person hated them for everything they were. She hated them. She hated them for their simplicity, for their faith in God. She mocked them. She hated them because they didn't support her, because she's all that's important. And luckily, Ian survived and he could give evidence. Thank God for that. So someone's put, I'm off to buy an orangish dinner plate just to spook my dinner. Yeah, if you go to someone's house and they've got an orange dinner plate, you should worry. Anyway, so here we've got the CCTV footage. This is Erin when she was at the hospital on the 31st of July. So wasn't that the day where she discharged herself after 5 minutes? Let's have a look. They're probably trying to stop her. Let's see. Look at her. She's trying to stop her leaving. She's like, do you know what? In that rucksack, do you think she's got the plates in there? Maybe. Maybe she's got the plates in there. So here's Erin with her mask on. Why have you got masks on? Was it during COVID? She's going. This poor nurse is trying to stop her. The nurse is caring about her welfare. Erin doesn't give a shit about anyone's welfare. She's just thinking, oh my God, they found out it's death cap mushrooms. I need to go and sort things out at home. Oh, look. So the nurse is trying to talk to her. She's just pressing the door to get out. Oh my God, this woman. This woman. Oh, I wish I had a witch emoji. Anybody know of a witch emoji? Hey, Yvonne. Oh my God. She's just trying to get out there. She said she had to go and sort out her daughter's ballet bag and put the lambs in and sort the kids out. And have a lie down. She said she had to lie down for fuck's sake. You've just been told you might need to have a liver transplant. You think, I'll just go home, sort my daughter's ballet bag out, have a lie down and sort the lambs out. Whatever. Look, that poor nurse is trying to stop her from leaving. She just presses the thing. Fuck you, she says, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going. I've got evidence to hide. Yeah. Yeah. One more time, I think. just trying to talk to her and say, you might be at risk, your children might be at risk, and then just says, just press the door to get out. Fuck this. Yeah. Horrible woman. So, our hero. Oh, she was brilliant. You know, the prosecution lawyer, Nanette Rogers, she was fantastic. She set Erin up, didn't she, with the fact of Erin saying, oh, I don't really remember, I don't know, I don't remember. Like she's got this terrible memory and she can't remember anything. And then Nanette Rogers set her right up with that question where she said that it happened on a different day. And Erin just came in and went, oh no, that was a Friday. Thank you, Nanette. Just looking at these people just makes me so sad. I'm sort of happy with the verdict, but it doesn't change the fact these poor vulnerable people, and they were vulnerable. We're all vulnerable, really. If you're invited to lunch with someone who you trusted, they were delighted to get invited. They didn't have the most exciting lives, did they? This was a big thing for them to get invited to lunch at Erin's house. It was a big thing. Moneybags Erin. They wanted to go and see the house. Like Don and Gail had gone a couple of times, not many. Heather and Ian, they were just, Ian said they were just acquaintances, but they looked forward to this lunch as a way to get a little bit better, to know Erin a little bit better. How must he feel now that they look forward to that lunch with anticipation? She cooked a delicious meal. They described the meal as delicious. And all the time, Erin was going to kill them. Terrible, isn't it? Terrible. This has got to be one of the most vile cases ever. And there's definitely going to be other things that are going to go. Oh, look at this. Audio of the doctor's call to police. Let's listen to that. Oh, God, I'm not sharing the tab. Sorry. Right, so I need to go back. I need to go back in a minute. Where's the audio call? Oh, have we not got the actual call? Where's the actual call? It says it's been released. Where's the audio call? I mean, I know they're listing the call, but I want to listen to it. Right. Right, let's listen to this, and then I'll go back to that other one.
This is Hello, what address do you need the police? This is Dr. Chris Webster calling from Lee and Gaffer Hospital, and I have a concern regarding a patient that presented here earlier but has left the building and is potentially exposed to a fatal toxin from mushroom poisoning, and I've tried several times to get hold of her on her mobile phone. So before I get all that information in, what address do you need the police to attend, Dr. Chris? Yeah, so, well, should I give the hospital address or the address of the patient? If you know where they are, their address. I have the address of the patient. Yeah, go ahead with that. Okay, 84 Gibson, Gibson Street. Is that in Leon Gaffer? Leon Gaffer 3953. Thank you. Yeah. So 84 Gibson Street, Leon Gaffer, Victoria. The nearest intersection is Worthy Street, is that correct? I'd have to get Google Maps up, but yes, I would say that sounds right. That sounds like a street in Leongatha. Yeah.
What's her name?
So the last name is Patterson, Patterson.
First name?
Erin, Erin.
Do you have a date of birth?
30th of September, 1974.
When did she present at hospital?
At 8:05
today.
Yeah.
Mushroom poisoning, you said?
Yeah, so there were 5 people that ate a meal on Saturday, and 2 of them are in intensive care at Dandenong Hospital. 2 have just been transferred from Leongatha Hospital to Dandenong Hospital, and Erin presented this morning with symptoms of poisoning.
Bear with me. And what happened when she presented? She just got up and left?
No, there was time for the nurse to begin observations, and I was managing the other critically unwell patient, so I had a brief chat to her about where the mushrooms were obtained, and after that, while I was attending the other patients, the nurse informed me that she had discharged herself against medical advice. So I don't know exactly.
What a bitch. So he's attending to the other people that, were bloody made ill by this woman. And while he's doing that, she buggers off. Oh, God, she's just horrible.
Exactly. Oh, we've got a form here. Hang on, let's tell me what time she left. No, it doesn't have a time. She left at 10 past. She was only here for 5 minutes.
Okay. Bear with me. This is her Erin's home address.
Yes, 84 Gibson Street is Erin Patterson's home address. That's correct.
And just to clarify, you said there were 4 other people who ate the same meal. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the meal was consumed by 5 people, and 4 of those people are now hospitalised, and Erin presented this morning.
And it was at Leongatha and Dandenong Hospital, is that right?
The initial presentation for 2 of the patients was Currumbara Hospital, which is part of the same health network as Leongatha Hospital at Gippsland Southern Health, but all the patients are now at Dandenong Hospital or in transit to Dandenong Hospital.
Do you have a phone number?
Yes. 0468 331 783.
Okay, yep. I've got the police notified for 84 Gibson Street, Leongatha in Victoria. Would you like them to contact you with an outcome?
Yes, I'd be happy for them to contact me at any time on the mobile number. Okay, thank you very much for your help.
Thanks, all the best.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Well, thank God. Thank God for that doctor, eh? Not only the doctor, it's a combination of everything, isn't it? The doctor, the police, all the people that helped in this trial. So now, obviously it went on a long time, and sometimes I think we all got a bit like, oh God, here we go again. But, it's all contributed into getting justice, and justice is important, isn't it? So this, what I may not have been sharing earlier, let's make sure I'm sharing it now. This is Erin. These are the notes. So everyone was trying to save Erin's life, except Erin, who didn't give a shit because she knew she had nothing wrong with her. She knew because she'd poisoned those others. She didn't have anything to worry about, and her kids didn't have anything to worry about. She knew. Erin knew. Let's have a look at this. So the nurse is trying to stop her from leaving. Erin just goes over and presses the button. It's like, I'm going, that's it. I'm going. You know, I know there's nothing wrong with me. You know, it's like, oh, I've got to go and sort out my daughter's ballet bag. Let the lambs out or put the lambs in or whatever and have a lie down. Yeah. I bet Erin got really aggressive with this lady. I mean, look at, you know. Now, I can say any horrible thing I want now because Erin has been found guilty. She is a murderer, a triple murderer, and she's also attempted to murder someone. But the things that I want to say, I'm going to try and hold back. I mean, I haven't held back very well, really, throughout the whole video, but what a bitch. What a bitch. Absolute bitch. Yeah, I've got to go and sort my daughter's ballet bag out and sort the lambs out, and I've got to have a lie down. So all these people trying to save Erin's life, and the very fact she wasn't interested shows she had nothing to worry about. She knew she had nothing to worry about. So here's Dr. Nanette Rogers. She did brilliantly as the prosecutor, didn't she? Here's the pictures of the victims. And then we've just listened to the audio of the doctor's call to the police. Put your hydrators out for Erin Patterson. I don't have a hydrator. I know some of my chatters do because on previous videos that I've done, they've said they quite like to try not necessarily mushrooms but vegetables for whatever reason. I don't think I'll be buying one anytime soon, to be honest. So we're getting to see some of the evidence, apparently. This is a picture that Erin took of the death cap mushroom, I think. Yeah, this is the message that she sent. I've been hiding powdered mushrooms in everything. Mixed it into chocolate brownies yesterday. The kids had no idea. That's the dining room where they all sat down for that fateful lunch. Yeah, what's going to happen to that house now, I wonder? It's got to be sold, hasn't it? Who'd want to live there? These are the remnants of the, you know, the leftovers. Do you know if they're the ones she just put there or real ones or whatever? What's this? Oh, this is her taking the dehydrator into the dump. Bye, David. Yeah, this was the pictures of her taking the dehydrator to the dump, and a lot of people said, you know, was she daft not to realise that she would be seen? But I don't think she was daft. I just think she just underestimated everything. These are the death cap mushrooms in the dehydrator on the tray. So these are all police evidence. There they are, the mushrooms on the tray. Let's have a look. Some are on scales. Yeah, she was weighing them, wasn't she? Maybe she misjudged the weight. Maybe she didn't mean to kill these poor people. Maybe she just completely misjudged the amount. I don't know. But apparently it's only a little tiny amount that it takes to kill someone. So. Oh. So then there's an interview with the police. Well, we'll do that another time because I'm sort of running out of time now. Also, apparently Justice Beale said, you've been an exceptional jury And remember, he told them they don't have to do jury service for 15 years. So, apparently, Gail was super attentive and loving to Erin, regularly checking up on her about her health and other things. She was looking forward to that lunch. She said it was delicious. And, of course, she would, anyway. Horrible way to die. Right, sorry, so here's some more evidence. Look, again, the remnants. Oh, this is apparently Gail Patterson's diary note. Look, lunch at Erin's with Heather and Ian. Now, she hasn't got much in her diary, has she? This is what I mean when I talk about these people. They were simple people. They didn't lead a dead, exceptional, exciting life, And Erin's invitation was exciting for them. They were grateful to have that invitation. She didn't have much else going on, according to her diary. Looking forward to it. Not realising that just as she was looking forward to it and writing in her diary this, Erin was planning murder. Oh, look, they've got the dropped attempt. I'm not going to go into that now because I haven't got time. Oh, so these were the photos that were took of Erin. Oh, God. Do you know what? She would hate these photos, which makes it all the better to show them. Erin, she just would hate it, wouldn't she? There's lots of docu-series coming out. I think it will definitely be Netflix, this one. This is an interesting picture. This is Erin handing over one of her phones to the police on August the 5th. Of course, she didn't hand all her phones over, did she? Look at her face. She's thinking, how can I get out of this? And now she got out of it was, of course, she went off into a room and said that she had to call her lawyer. And while she was in there, she factory reset the phone, didn't she? So again, this is her going off and dumping the hydrator. So I'm going to have a good look at this. These text messages. I don't think there is. The only motive for Erin is just spite. Okay. What's that? Oh, there's so much to look at and talk about. But as I say, I've been on for quite a long time now. I can't go into this anymore. Where was the text messages? Anyway, no, I'll have to stop because I've got to go and make some lunch and get sorted. I've got some more classes later. So there, that's where we are. Full of hate, full of spite. I don't know Swin. Hi, Swin. I don't know if she's a serial killer, is she? Serial killers kill and then they have a cooling off period before they kill again. Don't know what she is because she killed a more. Is she a spree killer? I don't know. I don't know how it would be classified as far as psychology is concerned. I don't know, But yeah, she's full of hate and spite, Dottie. Some people are, unfortunately. So she's a woman who had everything. You know, there's a lot of people would have loved Erin Patterson's life, wouldn't they? You know, a lot of people would have loved her life. She was financially secure, 2 nice kids, good relationship with her in-laws, or so everybody thought. But she didn't like the fact, and you know what I think, she did not like the fact that they weren't all bowing down around her. That's how I see it. Spite, envy, jealousy. It's not all about money. You know, sometimes people are just envious. And, you know, had Simon met someone else? This is sort of lurking in my mind. Had she got wind of the fact that maybe Simon had someone else? Or was it just because she was irritated because his in-laws, her in-laws, I should say, didn't take her side against him? Let's have a look. This is my favourite picture of Erin because I just think you can see all the evil in her in this photo. It's actually a still from a video. What do you think her sister thinks about it all? Her sister didn't appear at court. Her sister didn't give her a character witness. You know, she wasn't a character witness. I think all those things are telling, to be honest. Now suddenly this new friend has appeared that we never knew anything about. Is she a friend from prison? Or is it? I don't think it's a friend from childhood, do you? She's not the same age as Erin, is she? Anyway, I'm going. So thank you so much for being with me through this trial. I will be talking about it again tomorrow morning. Just see what come. I think there'll be lots more things come out. I'll see you then. And thank you for your support. Thank you to all of you who have liked, subscribed, etc. Put my banner on again. Special thank you to Joanne, because Joanne today sent me a super sticker. Thank you so much, Joanne. I think, Joanne, you're watching on the Spanish channel. You need to come on to the other channel if you can, because that's why sometimes you don't get maybe notifications or you can't see chats. Anyway. Thank you. I'll see you soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. And I think to cheer us up, I think actually what I'm going to do to finish off is I'm going to put a different video on. Let's have a look. Let's have a video that will put us in a good mood. A dancey, jumpy video. Thank you.
Oh, you Vicky Marie, you're so dream, you're so bold. Your YouTube world is the pure